just finding the play in like every
Hmm.
day, or just like being
Hmm.
curious about the
Yes.
everyday.
Hello, and welcome to episode 45 of Untamed Shrews Women Talk Theater, presented by the Flagstaff Shakespeare Festival. I'm Hannah.
And I'm Becky.
And I'm Dawn. Today is a Shrews only episode where we will be answering some listener questions.
But first, shrew check-in time. How the heck are you, shrews?
Also, Becky, I love that I've just like put that in there for all of our like outlines of the how the heck are you? And you guys have just like continued to say it.
It's
I
it's a
love it.
brand now.
It's a
It's our
brand now.
branding.
How the heck are you, Shrews? Yeah, who wants
Um,
to go first?
yeah, I can go first. I'm doing pretty good. I had a small procedure done earlier this week, so I have just been taking the past couple days to rest, and it has been so lovely.
So cozy.
Yeah. Also just thank you to both of you, to my family, to my community, for helping me out during it. So yeah, feeling pretty good. Yeah, summer's coming to a close here
Yeah.
in Flagstaff, so definitely getting a little bit excited for that like fall weather that we've got that's imminent.
Hmm. I keep
Yeah.
finding myself daydreaming about Christmas. I'm like, no, summer's not over. Just let summer be summer. And
Mhm.
I'm not usually that person, but yes, Becky, I have been
Yeah,
also like, fall and
it's
winter,
close.
it's coming.
Yeah. How's everyone else doing?
Pretty good. Let's see what's new. Narrative narrative aerial show just closed last week, where the desert meets the moon. And Becky, obviously you were in the show, one of my
Yay.
leads. Yeah, so I honestly can't remember how much I've talked about it, but we started a narrative aerial program at the Aerial Studio where um, we do a aerial show that actually follows a story. So it's theater meets aerial storytelling. The class focuses on choreography skills and stage presence and teaching people how to deliver lines, which is not Becky's case. She definitely knows how to deliver lines, but
Yeah.
some of my dancers have never delivered lines before, so I'm so proud of them for like, that learning curve and knowing their lines and being loud enough at like, I'm just honestly so proud that they were all willing to give it a go because it's really scary for the first time. So, yeah, super proud of them. The show went really well. It got covered in the paper. People were very
Yeah.
interested. And we're doing another. We're doing Aerial Nutcracker. So that's
Yay.
gonna be fun. Maybe that's why I'm dreaming about Christmas because I'm like thinking about Nutcracker and stuff. So probably by Christmas I'm gonna be very sick of Christmas because I've been working on Nutcracker since August. Um, yeah, so that just closed, which is good because I'm about to go into pretty intense rehearsals for a workshop of a new play that I'm in for the next 2 weeks. So I've been memorizing kind of frantically because it's only a three-person show. I never leave the stage and it's like an hour and 20 minutes long. So it's pretty chunky. Uh, so I've been doing a lot of memorizing for sure. Yeah, so what else? Jacob's been doing a lot of bar gigs, which has been fun with his new band. So we've been doing that like once a week or so, and he's been having a blast. It's a good reason to like go out, which is nice. Yeah, my new narrative show, the workshop that's coming up, just getting ready for going to my annual trip to Tahoe is in like 2 weeks. Jacob's birthday, my birthday, so like basically September to January is gonna be like quite the marathon. So kind of strapping in for a lot of artistic projects, a lot of memorizing. Yeah, so feeling pretty good. Yeah, I feel like that's me, just finishing out summer, performing a lot, which is exactly what I wanted to be doing when I, cut back on hours and doing a lot more artist stuff and directing and writing a ton, obviously, because of the narrative show. I have to write and now I need to write a script. Now I need to write a Nutcracker script. So anyway, yeah, all that stuff's been good. But how about you, Don?
Yeah, I mean, it's been crazy busy. I'm so glad that yesterday was the first day where I felt like I got
Mm,
my task list under control because it's like summer ends and I think, yes, like everything's going to be so much chiller now that, the big
hmm
repertory season is over. And then it was just the last 3 weeks have just been catching up. And I'm really excited because we're about to make some really big company changes that I think are going to make everyone's job a little easier and increase everyone's bandwidth a little bit. And just sort of like try to, yeah, just have more
Life balance.
life balance in the job. Yeah.
Yeah.
So as part of that big shift, I went to my first fundraising professionals conference, and
Fun.
I
Woo!
know I've nerded out about, development in here before, but I know I did it in our last podcast. I was like, oh, who are your donors? What are they? And it was really great. I just find like that whole world, like the people who, do nonprofit development are just so grounded and so thoughtful. And, like I honestly felt like I was on this like full day like self-discovery retreat instead of like a
hmm
fundraising retreat.
Yeah.
Because it's just so much about, like our values and, helping people achieve their dreams. And, philanthropy means love of humankind. And so
Cute.
everyone who's in, that philanthropy business is, always
Right.
really focused on that and always just like so nice and so pleasant. So I had a really great time, a lot of conversations about, radical hope and,
Mm.
joy and,
hmm
recentering yourself and taking time for yourself. And,
Yeah.
because we can all because we are, everyone who does fundraising for a nonprofit obviously
Mm.
is, has really lofty goals and really believes in what they're doing. And so it's easy to blur the lines between, your life and your work because you love it. So
Yourself and your business. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So it was just really great. I had a wonderful time. I met a lot of cool people from some different fundraising firms here in Flagstaff and all over Arizona. So I was already jazzed for the next one, but I think it's in June in Scottsdale next year. So I was like,
Ooh.
this is gonna be
Awful.
so hot.
Wait, why would they do
Awful.
that?
I know.
Awful.
I know, but there was one guy there who was like, "There's a pool, there's a pool, there's a pool." I was like,
Yeah.
Are we having a meeting in the pool? Because
Yeah,
"No
literally.
meetings in the pool."
Are we drinking mojitos by said pool?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but it was just really
Cool.
nice. I found it to be just, rather than sort of the typical conference grind where I feel like, all my notes are about you're doing this wrong and you have to do more of this. And like there were some of those notes of like, oh, I should be doing this way, or I should have done this. But like a lot of my notes were, like what was my big lesson from the last quarter and like how am I going to learn from it? And like,
hmm
they were way more like philosophical. So that was great.
Mm.
Yeah.
Cool. Wait,
Yeah.
wait, did you say if it was online or where
No,
did
it
you
was in
go?
person. It was at the new Astronomy Discovery Center.
Oh,
So
cool.
it's called the Arizona Fundraising Professionals, and there's like a Northern Arizona chapter, a Central Arizona chapter, and a Southern Arizona chapter. So they
Nice.
rotate. It's in Flagstaff, and then Phoenix, and then Tucson, and then
Oh,
Flagstaff, Phoenix,
nice.
Tucson.
cool.
So the
It's not
conference,
always far for someone, yeah.
conference
Sweet.
rotates. Though since it's
Nice.
always in summer, I feel like we're really the place you want to be.
Seriously.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking at you, the pool by Scottsdale.
Yeah,
Yes.
come on. Yeah, so it was really great, and I'm super just like what do you say, revived about that whole thing
Mm,
and
yeah.
excited to get going.
Good.
Yeah.
Conferencing is that way. That's how
Mhm.
STA is. You know, you
Yeah.
go and you're like, this
Well, for
is
you it
why I
was.
do. That's true. You didn't have a great time at everyone, but I always feel very revived because I meet people that are just so
Yeah.
excited and they have new
Yeah.
ideas, or they just go through the same things as you, and you're like, I'm not alone.
Yes.
So
Yes.
even if you don't necessarily have a solution, you're like, wait, You feel that way too?
Oh yeah.
Oh, thank the Lord. Like I've been feeling that way for 5 years, like that kind of thing, which is super
Yeah.
nice.
There
So you at
were
least have camaraderie.
Yeah, there were so many jokes about engaging your board in fundraising. Everyone just had
Uh-huh.
this like constant, and I love our board, and we have
Yes.
some incredibly philanthropic board members.
Yes.
And one of whom is going to be involved more in development with me, so I'm very excited about
Oh, good.
that. But it
Nice.
is kind of like the running joke of the nonprofit world. Is like, how do you involve, like, every other session is how to engage your board in fundraising, and
Yeah.
everyone's joke is like, you can't, you don't, it's done, it's not happening.
Oh.
That's so
So
silly.
it's very sweet. So yeah, then it makes you feel like, okay, well, it's not just me. I'm not an uninspiring leader. It's just the way
Absolutely.
it
Definitely
is.
not you.
Yeah, totally. I feel like every nonprofit goes through very similar things. Yep.
Oh, every single one. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Amazing. Anything else?
No.
No.
Okay. Well, we have had a lot of guests lately, especially since we've been doing our little demystifying Broadway series. So, as you've just heard in our check-in, we're all very busy and always feeling, like our dockets are full. So we thought that we would keep this month's episode really chill and low key and have shrews only. Um, and just do a little Q&A. So we've done Q&As before and I have some questions we never got to that I have on this list, and then I also have some questions that were questions from our Instagram. So some of these are also questions from our Instagram, but from like months or years ago even, that we just never got to because we have extra. So, well, let's see. Where do we want to start?
Mm.
There was one that I saw that I loved. Oh, this one. What hobbies or activities outside of acting inspire your performances? I loved this question. Like, what do we do as humans that we feel like we bring to the table when we're in a show?
Yeah. What a great question. I sometimes I remember having a conversation in college, my senior year of college with a friend. We both went to go get our haircuts at the same time. And you know how
Hmm.
the stylist will be like, "Oh, like so what do you do? Oh, like what do you do for fun?
Hmm.
Blah blah blah." And we were both like, "We work in theater." "Oh, like what do you do for your hobbies?" "We work in
We
theater."
also
Like
do theater.
yeah, like and just having this realization, or not a realization, but like in college where it was like, no, this is my life. This is the only thing I
Hmm.
do. And then as you
Hmm.
grow older, you're like, oh yeah, I can explore things that are not theater
Yeah.
specific, like aerial or hiking or
Hmm.
Hmm.
other arts and crafts or sciences. I don't know. So I don't know if that
Yeah.
was wholly answering the question.
Yeah. An anecdote similar too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Becky, you inspired me because just yesterday we were on the phone and you were saying that, hopefully it's okay, I mentioned it,
Oh,
that
yes.
you're
Yeah.
doing Master Chorale.
Yeah.
And that's like so fun. So Master Chorale is like our local, like
Like
adult
community
choir,
chorus.
which is
Yeah.
super cool. Yeah. And it's like, oh my gosh, right. Like there are so many things happening in, I mean, not just our town, but any town. Like there are running clubs, there are choruses, there are like
Paint and
mm,
sips
yeah,
or
paint and
clay
sips, like
studios, like
mushroom hunting hike leaded hikes, like there are so many things going on. But I feel like for me specifically, reading is a really big one.
Mhm.
um, it's like one of those things that I do that
Hmm.
is comfy, cozy, but also doesn't feel like I'm brain rotting, like it's not just me scrolling or I mean, sometimes watching a movie or watching a show can inspire me, but typically not as much as something like reading does. But like I read a book recently that I was like, I want to turn this into a play. Like, how do I reach out to this
Yeah,
person?
yeah.
Like, how do I like get in contact with this random author? Like, it's a book I like randomly found at a used bookstore in California. Like, it wasn't like on a reading list. I just happened to find it. And I'm like, this would be a great play. So, things like that can really inspire me. Clothes always inspire me. I mean, obviously, we talk about Ariel all the time.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Food, thrifting,
Live music.
friends. Yeah,
Yeah.
live music. Those are kind of mine. Church, friends, family. spending time with people,
Hmm.
hanging out with your kids, Dawn, always makes me
Oh,
like kind of like see the or my sister's kids, things like that. Like
Yeah.
yeah.
I remember the other day I was watching Willa and we were sitting in the living room and she saw Bronte's ears being projected onto the wall from the sunshine. And so Willa was like, Bronte ears. And I was like, what? And she was like, Bronte ears. And then I was like, oh, you're seeing the shadows. So then we like played
Yeah.
shadows just with our fingers
Oh.
for like 20 minutes. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh my gosh, the world, like something as simple as
Yeah.
Bronte's ears
Yeah.
being broadcast onto the wall. So, yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know, just spending time with friends and getting out of the house
Yeah.
and not staring at a screen.
Wait, so
Yeah.
that story, just the past weekend or maybe 2 weeks ago, I was hanging out with some friends. We were doing a little like Shabbat, and somebody told a very like funny story or like just an outrageous story. And at
Hmm.
the end of it, we're all just silent for like a moment or two, and then somebody goes, "What the fuck?" And I was just like, oh my God, that is a moment in a play right there. Like, I don't know, it's just like that was so
Uh-huh.
funny. And I'm like, this is a character.
Oh yeah, like telling this outrageous story that like shocks everyone to their bones.
Yeah, but and then so, like they're just being silenced and somebody just saying like another outlandish thing. Like, I don't know, it was just a moment where I was like, yes, this is art imitating life, life imitating art.
Silly. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Aw.
Uh,
This one's harder for me because I don't perform anymore. So I'm like, I don't know.
but I guess we could switch this to inspire performance to just inspires your art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you've also been writing a lot and stuff. So,
Yeah.
you
And
know.
you're
Yeah.
choreographer for trapeze.
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, that's pretty easy because it's just like the song or the students. The students come up with really
Hmm.
cool stuff that I always like in their performances. But no, yeah, I just don't. I guess when I'm, like my most recent experience would be more directorial, I
Hmm.
suppose. And then I think what really inspires me is people watching. Like
Mm.
and Sean always calls me on it. I love to go out to a restaurant and just stare at strangers. And he's
Hmm.
like, you've got to stop. And I'm like, but it's so interesting the way they speak
Mhm.
and what they're saying and their
Yeah.
mannerisms. I have kind of the same thing you did with that, what the fuck? Like when I see someone like who has like a very specific walk. Or like, and I'm just
Mhm.
like, oh, this is a character in a play. Like this is
Hmm.
Yeah.
this is some weird mannerism that you could give a character in a play.
Oh
Right.
yeah. Yeah. Oh
So,
yeah, I've definitely said sometimes, like Hannah, when you were doing CrossFit and I joined you one time and we were doing some sort of like high knee or something like that. And I was like,
Uh-huh.
oh, I'm stealing this for when we're doing an acting exercise. And it's always like, find a different way to walk. Like
This one.
this way.
That's so silly.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jacob always giggles at me too when we're out and about. Because he knows I do this, I stare at people, and he'll be like, are they on a first date? And I'm like, no, they're married. They've been married for
yeah,
3 years. They
yeah,
have two children. Like,
yeah, yeah,
I'm like trying to assess their situations based off of like the clues I have.
yeah,
Yep.
That's so silly. Anything
totally.
Yeah.
else?
I just want to say, I feel like the heart of that was like just finding the play in like every
Hmm.
day, or just like being
Hmm.
curious about the
Yes.
everyday.
Just like noticing life. Yeah,
Yeah.
noticing life, enjoying life, trying to like take time for the, I don't know, simple things in life. I don't know. Like, I feel like I don't know. I mean, I guess I've been thinking a lot lately about like, trying not to be on my phone as much, trying not to be
Mhm.
answering emails late, and I don't know, like trying to be more present with people. And like, I feel like that's
Hmm.
where I find the most joy. And I feel like that also, translates to your performance and what you bring to the
Yeah.
table, I guess. Anyway, that got really nebulous and such, but anyway, do you guys have one you want to jump into from this little list?
Oh. Well, okay. What's one major misconception you had
Mm,
about acting, theater, or the arts?
I liked that one too. Good one.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I have any because everyone always told me that acting was going to be really hard.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
you know what I do think that I wasn't quite prepared for, and I didn't realize this until college, is when I did theater as like a tween and a teen, I thought acting was all just kind of like from the heart, like you have it or you don't, like you have the
Mm,
spark or not. And I like literally didn't know that when I got to school that there was like things you do. Like
Yes.
I had,
techniques.
yes, no
Yes.
idea. Like no one had
Yeah.
Yeah.
ever taught me like objectives, beats,
Yeah.
Yes.
tactics. I was like,
Yeah.
no idea those existed. I just was like, be
Yes.
loud and be fun and like you have it or you don't. Like,
Yep.
I don't know, like you have
Yeah.
stage presence or it's like not in you. I don't know. Like, so I just had
Yeah.
no idea. So I guess that's kind of a
Yeah.
misconception is that
No,
like
I
when
think
I
that's
got to
the major misconception.
yeah, when I got to college, I was like, oh my gosh, why didn't no one tell me this? I could have been working on
Yeah.
this. Like I felt
Yeah.
a bit embarrassed. Like I got to like my first acting class and I don't think I like flopped or anything, but I was just like I had no idea I was like behind. And some other actors my age, like knew all those things. And I was like,
Mm.
oh, I had no idea that it wasn't just like you do shows as a kid and you get kind of better.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like if they knew those things in their first acting class, like they're the outlier.
I
Because
guess.
I also feel the same, where
Yeah.
it's like it's just different, I guess, prior to college or
Yeah.
like
Hmm.
working professionally.
Hmm.
Because I also feel the same, but I would say that they're the outlier and not
Okay.
like, yeah, yeah. So
Then maybe it was just my
Yeah.
imposter syndrome, like assuming that
No.
I was the one person in the room that was like, what is
yeah,
this?
yeah,
No, I
Yeah.
think it's the major misconception about theater. Like everyone just thinks like you're just born a star, like you're just
Right.
born good at it.
Hmm.
And there is some element of
Yeah.
that. Like I've definitely seen. Man, there was a girl in my undergrad, and it was like, is someone ever going to tell her to stop majoring in theater? Like,
oh
Yeah.
no.
she would never get cast, she would never get any better. She was so enthusiastic, and I just
Mm.
remember thinking, like, it has to be someone's job here to tell her, like, you're not going to make it. Like, this is
Oh,
not
Mm.
for you. And it wasn't because she wasn't working hard, and it wasn't because, but it was like she just couldn't get there. So I also wonder, so I feel like there's a
yeah.
little bit of both, but I definitely had the same conception as you, Hannah. It was like, in high school, I always thought like you're either just a good actor or you're not a good actor.
Mhm.
Like I didn't
Hmm.
realize there was, sort of like a strategy to it,
Right.
or, you know, um, that you could learn how to do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know why, but this just made me think of a really funny anecdote because I taught high school theater for so long, and we were in such a rush. It was in a Great Hearts school in Phoenix, so we had to do classical theater. So my 11th
Hmm.
graders in 8 weeks, who had never done, some of them never done theater before, would put on a Greek play. And
Yeah.
then my 12th graders in a semester would put on a Shakespeare play. So it was always just
Yeah.
like, let's do this. Like, but I did teach them, they had like workbooks and stuff, and I would teach them like how to work with the verse and how to do this.
Hmm.
And I definitely taught them like objective, beat, tactic. And I had a student come back to me later and he was like, why didn't you ever teach us Stanislavski? And I was like, but objective, beat,
Yeah.
tactic.
Oh, yes.
I was like, I did teach you
I
Stanislavski. I
haven't
was like,
even thought about the fact, yes, that
yeah,
it's his program.
did
Yeah.
you just learn the name Stanislavski and just think I'm like, because I was like, yeah, I didn't like give you a lecture on Stanislavski himself, but like I taught you his techniques.
Yeah.
But I was
That's
like,
so
it's
funny.
so funny because he just came back to me and he was like, I learned this big word and like we should have done that in high school. I'm like, you did.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that even goes to show like how yeah, I haven't even thought about the his name in so
It's so
long. All
long.
I
I
ever
know.
think about is the actual parts
Yeah,
of
yeah,
that's so funny. That's
yeah.
hilarious. Yeah,
It's
no, I always think about that. I'm like, if I, ever do, I mean, I guess I could bring it into my narrative class. If, like, maybe it could be good that I could be like,
Oh,
the,
Hannah,
yeah.
entire workbooks.
Yes, that'd be
If
awesome.
you ever wanted to just like print some pages off for your aerial
Uh-huh.
students, like
Well,
I have so much stuff.
I did Le Bon's eight efforts last
Yes, I
semester,
love
so I'm
Le
gonna do Le
Bon.
Bon's eight efforts again. But yeah,
Yeah.
maybe I could pull in a couple,
Head,
like
heart,
a
gut,
very
groin.
basic. Yes, uh-huh.
That's like the
Yeah.
quickest one to teach and so useful for students.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I used to do that all the time. Anyway,
Yes.
I have a lot of dusty old drama
I was gonna
materials if
say
you ever need
it's
any.
flooding back. It's flooding back.
Yeah.
The college
Yeah.
career is hitting me.
If you ever want
Um,
any of them.
that's funny. Yeah, okay. Anything else? I feel like we all kind of agreed on that one.
Yeah. Did you have something
I
else, Becky?
Yeah, well, this is maybe more about like the business of theater, where I just feel like we were
Mm.
taught get paid for your work, like you're not like don't go unpaid, blah blah blah. But there was no maybe mention of like it's all a spectrum, and like every theater operates at a different like financial level.
Mhm.
So I feel like it was like, oh yes, like obviously I'll get paid for my work. And then it's like, oh, but sometimes if it's Broadway, that's like 3,000 a week. Or
Mhm.
sometimes if it's at maybe like a newer theater, that might be $100 for the whole project. So it's like I feel like I just had no concept of what that
Mm-hmm.
actually meant
Mm-hmm.
until, you know, doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What it realistically looks like.
Yeah, yeah.
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 I mean,
Yeah.
I guess I could add the other misconception that I had before I got into theater admin, which was that theaters made money on ticket sales.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm.
Absolutely
Nope.
not.
Nope. Your budget does not come from
Yeah.
ticket sales. It
Yeah.
barely skims the surface.
Mm-hmm.
So interesting.
And to me, I guess like to go back to the development perspective too, I think there's a misconception that a lot of people have that's very interesting to me that goes along with that, which is sometimes I'll have, I'll have, a patron or something be like, oh, I had a really funny encounter where a woman was like, "Oh, I got this discount code and then I never got to use it, so just, consider that a donation." And I wanted to be like, "But
That's
everything
not.
is a donation. Like, we're a nonprofit theater company." So it's always
Uh,
funny to me when people don't see their like ticket purchase as a donation. And it's very interesting the
mm,
mindset in between because I'll have some patrons, who are, like give very nicely to the theater. And then they'll like email me and say, "Hey, can I have a free ticket to this thing?" And I'm like, "Sure." But also, your ticket is also a donation. So I feel
yeah.
like if people could,
Mm.
like flip that mindset, especially around, I guess that's especially around like nonprofit theater, which is most of
Yeah,
theater, which is theater
Right.
outside of Broadway, is
yeah,
that everything you're giving is a philanthropic gift. Like they're not making money off of ticket sales, so your ticket purchase is just as much of a donation.
Mm.
And so that really changes the way I look at purchasing tickets also, right? When I'm going into something and I'm going to purchase a ticket, I think, oh, okay, well, maybe it seems like a lot to me because, if for each Sean and I, it's $35. But then I just remind
Yeah,
myself, like, this is a donation to the arts. Like, I'm just
yeah,
making arts possible. This is
yes,
not, they're not like, that money isn't getting squirreled away in someone's bank account. Like,
Right.
no, that is directly supporting the arts.
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, so I think that'd be my other
Yeah,
major misconception.
Hmm.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. The next one that I wanted to do would what has been the most significant turning point in your acting or theater career? I am truly interested, girls. I don't know the answers to these questions, so I need to know. What was the
Yeah.
significant turning point? Is there one?
So I feel like for me, I've had two so far. I feel like the first was the West Side Story tour.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that maybe would have been a significantly more turning point had I decided to continue pursuing just stage
Mm.
management.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, and then I honestly feel like the second was finding flag shakes.
Yeah.
Because I felt like I found an artistic home
Aw.
and a community outside of the theater as well.
Yeah.
I've bopped around a little bit, and of course, places have been lovely, and I've really enjoyed working in other areas. But when I got to Flagstaff, and I say this all the time, like I immediately felt like I had a community.
I should have
Yeah.
been thinking about my own answer.
I mean, mine is also, founding Flag Shakes. That was the biggest
Hmm.
turning point. I was talking to people a lot about this at the development conference, because, they were asking me, well, why would you want to, you're on a very unusual trajectory. And I was like, yeah, I founded a company thinking that, it was going to allow me to be artistically involved in professional theater in my hometown. And instead, I realized I needed to do all of the work of running a company. And so the artistic side of it got less and less and less prevalent for me. But that led to the huge realization. And Joni and I have talked about this too, right? Because she's now much more of an administrator than an artist, even though she still teaches, aerial, etc. But we both found that, we had this sort of like propensity to the business side of it that a lot of people don't want to,
Hmm.
have or get involved in. And so
Yeah.
almost the opposite of you, Hannah, when you were like, oh, I want to do more performing. I was like, that sounds terrifying. Let me keep doing admin, please. But in development, I think like the intersection of it, because development's all about people and relationships. And, it
Hmm.
can be very not performative in that, you're making things up or whatever, but performative in that you are on and like you're
Hmm.
really presenting to people, you're selling them this dream or this
Mhm.
idea.
Hmm.
So I was like, oh yeah, I think that's why my trajectory has gone the way it's gone. But it was definitely a huge turning point for me because until
Hmm.
then, what I was going to do with my life is be a professional actress. And
Hmm.
now if someone mentions that to me, a lot of people are, when are you going to act again? And I'm like, maybe never. And that's totally fine with me. Like, I don't feel like there's something lacking in my life because
Yeah.
I'm not acting, which is,
Hmm.
if you had told me that in grad school, I would have been like, you're a liar. And like, this is all I've ever wanted to do from the
Yeah.
day I was born. It will never change. And now I'm like, oh yeah, it did totally change. That's not what I
Yeah,
want to do.
totally.
So that was probably the biggest. But I would say the one before that, that got me on the trajectory here um, was an internship that I got rejected for straight out of grad school.
Yeah, you talked
And
about it, I think last
oh,
episode or
did
maybe
it?
before. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm sure I've
Yeah.
talked about it before. But oh, when we were talking
on
about,
rejection.
yeah, on rejection and how
Right.
it's meant to happen is what happens. So
Hmm.
that rejection was a huge turning point in my career, and I never would have ended up here without
Right.
that. So like
Hmm.
Yeah.
those two were the biggest for me, I think.
Right.
Now I'm like, did I do two just because Becki did two? I could have just done one. But in my brain, I was like, you have to have two.
Oh my gosh, no.
Mm.
You could have one, you could have four.
That's
Yeah.
true, yeah.
We contain multitudes or not.
Or not.
Or zero multitudes. You are completely flat. There's
That is not true of any of us.
No.
no, absolutely not. It was funny when Jacob and I first dated, I told him that quote was like
Yeah.
I contain multitudes.
Oh.
And I don't know, I remember that like being a large part of our early dating. Because
Oh.
I remember being like, Jacob, you're a very confusing man.
Yeah.
Because when I met him, I was like, you're so weird and wild, and you like don't fit into any molds. And I said
Uh-huh.
something along the lines of like, I contain multitudes, and we kind of just like stuck to that. Anyway.
Okay, wait. I have to tangent in the other direction because
Yeah.
when I first taught at community college, I was teaching theater, but for some reason they threw a public speaking class at me. And
Uh-huh.
I was like, okay, because I was just trying to like put together a salary. So I'm teaching this public speaking class, and I had a student in there who had absolutely no personality.
Oh
Oh,
I could
oh
never discover his personality.
no. You were
I could
trying. You
Oh,
were
and
trying.
he gave like I'll never forget it because he was giving a speech on visiting the Alamo. And I
Huh.
was like, oh, this is like a very charged thing and like all this history.
Yeah.
And supposedly he had been in one of the armed forces. But
Oh.
literally the way he described the Alamo in his speech was like, and when you walk in, there are cases, and in those cases are things, and beside the things are descriptions of the thing. So you can read it and find out what that thing in the case
Is.
is. And you walk through, and I was like,
Ah!
I
What
was like,
are
oh
the
my God,
things?
is this the most boring description of a museum I've ever? It was like, at some points I was like, are you a robot alien?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Or one or the other. I could not discover his personality to
No
save my life.
multitudes, no
No,
multitudes.
not even one. Like I was like, there are no levels here. He didn't have a single like like
But
unique
Dang.
here's the
thought or
thing.
feeling the
That's
whole
what makes
time.
him so layered.
Right. Well, no, it's what would make him also like, and now I'm
Yes,
thinking about like
a
inspirations for a play.
fascinating
Like
person.
he would be a great character in a play because
Mhm.
every time you would be like, what did you just like, did you just
What the
describe
fuck?
a museum? And instead of like telling me like what happened at the Alamo, you told me that there were cases with things inside and like descriptions of those things inside. Anyway, I just had to
Yeah.
go the other
But
direction.
also, he's
Wait,
so
it's
intriguing to me because I need to figure out like, were his parents really like dry, cut and dry
You want me
people?
know?
Did he come from like, a free-spirited mom? Like, I gotta know. I gotta
I
know
know.
this
I spent
guy.
a whole semester trying to figure him out, and I
Uh,
never got anywhere.
and
Never.
also like that he could be describing like a pastry display.
Yep.
Like there's
Yeah.
cases with things in it, and there's a little note card that says what the thing is.
so
Yep.
silly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the way he described it, it was like, do you think no one here has ever been in a museum before? But that's kind of what it felt like. And I was like, maybe this is the first time he went, and he thinks
Yeah.
none of
Yeah.
us have any idea. But that
Yeah.
was how he described everything.
But
I'm
it
pretty,
also it
I'm
goes
pretty
to
sure his
show.
demonstrative speech was on how to make a cup of tea.
Aw. But that goes to show you that, like, because sometimes this is even more tangents. Whenever I do like performing, like when I get hired to perform in like non-traditional ways, so like MCing and things like that, when it's like not theater itself, but obviously theater adjacent, I always get so many comments of like, Hannah, you are so good at this. Thank you so much. Like, oh, it was just so helpful having someone that like knew how to speak. And I was like,
Yeah.
sometimes I like feel guilty because I'm like, that was the easiest job I've ever done. Like, I love those jobs because you're
Yeah.
paying me to like read a script in front of a group of people
Yeah.
about like whatever random thing we're doing, like some conference or whatever. But it just goes to show you that like we are in a theater world. All of our
Yeah.
friends are good speakers. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
all of my
Yeah.
friends can get in front of a crowd, no problems. But then, like, when I go to my family or friends that
Yeah.
aren't theater people, like going in
Yeah.
front of people is the scariest thing they could ever
Yep.
imagine.
And then
So for someone like him, like public speaking was probably so
Oh,
big for him. Like,
for
and
sure.
literally just him getting in front of everybody talking about how to make a cup of tea
Yeah.
was probably huge for him.
Oh, he was
yeah.
an overnight prison guard.
Whoa.
I
Ooh,
forgot that detail.
what a
Wow.
fascinating human.
He was an overnight prison guard because he would come straight from his shift to the 9 a.m. class
Wow.
and
Wow.
then go home and sleep. I remember
That's
that.
why
Wow.
he was so tired. So
He
many
was very
layers.
tired.
Wow.
I'm
Yeah.
I
sure he
love
was
this
very
guy.
tired.
Oh my
Yeah.
Oh man, I
Yeah.
wish I remembered it. I wish I remembered his name.
Oh,
But I mean, I wouldn't say
yeah.
it on the
No,
podcast.
yeah.
Yeah,
But now I'm like, can
yeah.
I find him on Facebook?
Yeah.
Anyway,
What is he
sorry.
up
That
to
was
now?
great. Becky, wait, did you have something to
Oh,
say?
so at my sister's bridal shower, it was at a restaurant, and there was like quite a lot of women there, and people were chatting, and we were wanted to do this game, and obviously like we didn't have a microphone because it was at like some restaurant, and I'm just like, I got
I
this.
got this.
I need your attention, everybody. This is what we're
Yeah.
doing, blah blah. And I'm like, I will project. I'm
Yes.
comfortable with this. We can
Yes.
Yes.
At every dinner party when you need to like announce dinner
Yeah.
is ready,
Yeah.
like your
Yeah.
skills come straight out.
No,
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
time someone's like, "Do you need a microphone?" I'm like, No. I feel
Absolutely not.
I feel so stuck up about it. I'm like, I do not need a microphone.
Thank you. Okay, I will answer mine.
Okay.
I think I will stick with one, although I could probably come up with several. I think the most significant one for me is when I decided to write my own shows. I
Ooh.
Oh,
think
right.
once, yeah, I guess, obviously we've done so much chatting about solo shows over different episodes, but I think that I hit a point in my career where I had to trust my own skills, and like decide like the story I wanted to tell with my skills. And like, what did I want people, like, how did I want to affect people? Like, how did I want
Hmm.
to shine my light through my performing to not only, of course, be a performer to enjoy what I perform, but to like actively, hopefully affect people in a way that I feel good about. I know the story I'm telling. I know. So I think that was big. And it was also just a time of my life that writing my show just like really changed my life. I mean, I had hit a point in my life where I was like, I need to make a change. I'm not happy. I,
Hmm.
tried making a couple changes that weren't working. And once I wrote my show, it just like, I don't know. It again, we've talked about it before, but it was really cathartic. It moved me through a lot of things I needed to move through, and like using my show as a way to do that was great. And in a way, like that show now, like the stuff I talk about in that show, I mean, there are still things that are really hard, but the stuff I talk about in that show, I kind of like moved my way through using my show.
Hmm.
Um, and I think that I can like actively see that trajectory. And it also just toured a little bit and I got to take my show places and obviously I got to sing a lot and do a
Hmm.
lot of theater and take that show around. And so I think that would be it because then now I have like a thing that is mine that I get to like take places. And if I'm not being
Yeah.
cast, if I'm not doing what I want to be doing, or if the shows I'm doing are just like not fulfilling that little space, like I get to be like, great, I'm writing another one. I don't know. I get to be like, oh, well, I want to do that. So I'm going to write another one or whatever it might be.
Nice.
So I feel like once I decided I'm gonna I'm gonna just like put something out there and hopefully it's good.
Hmm.
I feel like that was it. And then okay, never mind. I'm gonna say two. And then I also agree with Becki. Obviously, getting cast at Flag Shakes for the very first time. The only thing that's different there is that like I moved here very early career. It was my literal first show out of college. So I don't know if I can consider that a turning point because it was literally my first professional show. So is it a turning point when it's the very beginning? I'm not sure.
I mean, I'd say yes.
But so yeah, those two. Those two.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think it is a
Okay.
turning point because it's like,
Yeah.
that first rejection was a turning point for me. So it's like the first
Mm-hmm.
acceptance is also a turning
Right.
point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Okay, what's next? We probably have time for like one more.
Yeah. I
Mm.
guess
Dawn, did you pick a question?
yeah, I
Oh
was gonna
yeah.
say I don't think I have picked a
Mm.
question yet.
Hmm.
So
Some of these are your husband's. Can you figure out which ones?
yes. If you could rewrite any play, what would it be and why?
Uh-huh.
And if you could get the world's leaders to sit down and watch one play, what would it be? Are those my husbands?
Yes, they are.
Yes. I was thinking
Mhm.
about the world leaders one when I first read it. So it's really interesting to me because I think my answer would be Titus Andronicus. Because
Ooh. Oh,
Oh,
we've talked. I think you've mentioned something similar to this.
have I? Okay, maybe I shouldn't do this one
No, no, no.
then.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Is it?
Oh,
No, I think I know where you're going, but it also might be
yeah.
because I know you very well. So go
You
ahead.
do know me very well. I mean, I think it's because the message of that play is, I feel like I have said this before, is violence begets violence.
Right.
And
mm,
so, like, just to have but then I'm like, would they get it? That was my
Mm.
question today. I was like, I
Mm-mm.
don't think they would get it. But
No.
then again, if you sat them in front of anything more heavy-handed, they still probably wouldn't get it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, why not? Titus Andronicus, see if anyone understands the message, which is
Yeah.
like violence is not the answer. It only begets more violence. That I think
Yeah.
that would be my answer to that one, you know.
Yeah. This one's
Yeah.
tough. It is
Yeah.
all the world's leaders, all of
Yeah.
them.
I know.
Like that is so many, and that is so many varying opinions and just so different. Everyone that would be sitting there would have such a wide
Yeah.
range of beliefs. So many different religions in that room,
Mm-hmm.
so many
Hmm.
different political parties and
Mm-hmm.
I mean political
Yeah.
structures. I mean, we're talking, wow, this
Yeah.
I mean, again, we're getting nebulous here. I don't know if I
Yeah.
have an answer to this play. I feel like I would choose I don't think I have this play. Maybe we'll write it.
Yeah.
I feel like the play I would want them to see is like a very human play that acknowledges the gray areas of so many things. Like, I
Mm.
think what is, about, especially when I think of like world politics and human issues,
Mm-hmm.
there's so many human problems that are so layered. I mean, I don't even know if I could, yeah, I don't know if I have an answer, but something that is really human that shows joy and pain together somehow, that I don't know. Gosh, Becki, do you have an answer? I'm just rambling because
No.
I don't have an answer.
I feel like I'm not like I feel like I'm not smart enough to answer this question.
No,
No.
no.
But I also feel like I haven't read enough plays to answer this
Mm.
question too.
You know what I'm gonna go with in the end? I've
Yeah.
final answer, simply silly Shakespeare.
I know. I was like,
Yeah.
Let's
something
Yeah.
really.
just all have a laugh
And that's what I
together.
was thinking, like
Yeah.
something joyful that
Yeah.
shows like the human condition. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Final answer,
I don't
simply silly
Yeah.
Shakespeare.
I love that. Yeah,
Let's
honestly,
just everyone sit
yeah.
together and have a lark.
Yeah, because it might not be a play that like we might not be able to quote unquote teach them anything,
Yeah.
but we
Hmm.
can at least like break the ice by getting them all to laugh together.
Yes.
Right. And I
And
Yeah.
think
that goes ways.
that's maybe what I was going for, Becky,
Yeah.
is like
Yes.
putting
Yeah.
them in the
Exactly.
same room. We all have so many different opinions and again, like so many different beliefs. Can we just like get them to all watch the same thing and not hate each other over it and be
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
what did that mean to you?
Yeah.
That would
Yeah.
be impossible, but something they could all agree on.
Yeah.
It's a
What is
start.
a play they
It's
could all
funny to
agree
put a
on?
pie in someone's face. Let's do
True.
this.
That's true. Maybe we just need a classic farce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the beauty of theater, right? Is like there are so many plays that have a different lesson in each of them. So,
Hmm.
and playwrights are constantly writing new plays that bring,
Hmm.
new thoughts and information to the forefront. And then
Hmm.
sometimes the purpose of theater is just to relieve the burden of consciousness.
Right. Just to be, yeah. Just to,
So,
you see
yeah,
that obviously like golden era musicals were all
yeah,
pretty fluffy, and that was
yeah,
because the time they came out was pretty rough.
yeah,
And
Yeah.
yeah,
people needed some fluff,
yeah.
you know?
I mean,
So,
I would say, I love theater and I think that it's powerful and profound and everyone should watch more plays. But also, if I could expand this into the world of television,
mm.
Mr. Rogers' Kindness Collection.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Could we all just watch
okay.
Mr.
Yeah.
Rogers' Kindness Collection together
That's
and learn
funny.
how to be
Yeah.
nice? Uh-oh.
We have a toddler
Oh,
man.
What do you want to say to the Shrew fans? What do you want to say? What's the best play you've ever seen? Oh, that's terrible noise, probably. What's the best play you ever saw? Wah wah wah. That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Okay.
Well, I think Mr. Rogers is a good place to start.
yeah.
Okay, well, as per usual, we didn't get through nearly not even half of the questions we had, which is fine. We'll keep them for another year or another
Yeah.
year. Well, some of these
Well,
are
maybe.
from like 2 years ago. So,
Yeah.
okay. Well,
Okay.
any last words?
Thanks for listening. Thanks for being
Yeah.
curious about us, y'all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
All right.
Drop your answers in the comments.
Um,
We want to
Yeah.
know, do you know what the play is? Tell
Yeah.
us in the comments, please.
or should we all write it together?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this month's episode of Untamed Shrews. I'm Becki.
And I'm Hannah.
And I'm Dawn. Join us for our next episode in November. Follow Untamed Shrews on our Instagram at Untamed Shrews Podcast and on the Flag Shakes website. All episodes of Untamed Shrews can be found wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on sunsounds.org.
Please subscribe to the podcast, leave us a review, put us in your Instagram stories, donate at flagshakes.org/donate, become a podcast sponsor, and buy Shrew Crew merch. Help support the Shrew Crew.
This episode of Untamed Shrews, starring Hannah Johnson, Dawn Tucker, and Becki Zaritsky. Show art by Calliope Luedeker. Podcast theme song by Cadence Lamb. Podcast produced and edited by Hannah Johnson and presented by Flagstaff Shakespeare Festival. Bye, guys.
Bye.